Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Catherine. I'm currently a PhD student at The Ohio State University studying history. In today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about grad school essentials. And for me, the first place to start for grad school essentials is tech, especially in the work from home era with COVID. I definitely had to adapt. I still had to make sure that I would be at my most successful self, even though I wouldn't necessarily be working in an office or on campus or have the resources that I was used to. My list isn't very long, but it's a few things that I think will, I'm not trying to exaggerate, but revolutionize your work from home life. And some of them seem really basic, but they're things that I didn't have in undergrad or while doing my master's, and they've really helped. So the first thing you're going to need, obviously, is a computer. I have a MacBook Pro 2019. I actually got this computer last January. My previous computer was a MacBook Pro 2011. I had had the computer for almost 9 years, and a former roommate spilled water on my computer, so I had to get a new one, but all was for the best as I wanted a new computer for grad school anyways. I do not know that much about computers, but my options were essentially to either get a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Air. The MacBook Airs, I think, were a little less expensive, but I did decide to go with a MacBook Pro. I think for a lot of schoolwork, people often suggest the MacBook Air, but considering I'm now at a PhD level, I would be using a lot of different system processors, whether it's me doing a lot of PDF work or processing archives and a lot of photos down the line of pictures that I'll take in archives. I thought that the MacBook Pro would be better just for what I needed it to do. I would suggest when you're looking to buy a computer to compare, shop around, ask other people in your specific program for advice. I would not give any advice for a student doing grad in engineering, for example. I have no idea what kind of computer or processor you would need for that, but I think in the humanities, any kind of generic computer that is going to have a good processor is probably your best bet. My other option was to get a desktop, which I decided against. I ended up just buying a second screen. Desktops are really expensive, and although I think I'll probably end up investing in one for my dissertation, I think in the earlier years you'll be fine with just a laptop. And I also have 2 external hard drives. That way I have extra space and I'm backing up all my files. That way I don't lose anything important. I think a lot of people go back and forth about getting an iPad or having a second device that you can take with me. I haven't needed that thus far, mostly because I'm doing all my work at home. I think iPads are good if you want to have readings with you in something that's not a laptop. So if you want to bring readings to class and you don't want to have your computer, you can just pull up your iPad. I'm not going to school or going anywhere, so I don't need an iPad. That being said, it's all about what you feel comfortable affording and what you feel like you can invest in. Some things are very expensive, but they're going to be worth it in the long run. So if you do feel like you would get a lot of use out of it, then go ahead and invest. For me right now, getting an iPad was not something in my budget. I'm trying to pay off a car, and it was also something that I have found I don't need. What I did end up getting was this second screen. I actually also have a second screen back at my apartment in Columbus, and my mom decided to buy one of these. It was on sale at Costco. And she rationalized it that my dad is working from home and he could use it, but secretly she just got it so that I could do work while I was home, which I am truly so grateful for, and I can't even believe how supportive that they've been of my journey. I got really used to having a second screen when I got my master's in New York and I worked on campus. And the office that I worked in, everyone had 2 screens. And at first I thought it was like over the top, unnecessary, and then I became obsessed. With classes on Zoom, I can have my readings pulled up on one screen, the Zoom here, and I don't have to worry about having another device. Also, I think If I didn't have this, I might be more inclined to have an iPad to have a second screen, but this works so well. I simply mirror my desktop with an HDMI cord, and that way I can just drag things over from one window to another. For example, like this, I don't know if you can see, but I can have my readings here and I can drag it over here, and my productivity goes through the roof. That sounds like a bit of an exaggeration, but it totally is. Another thing that is not necessary, but I feel more comfortable with, is a microphone. This is a different one that I have in Columbus. I left that one there, and this was my dad's that I kind of decided to borrow. But I think in class settings, it can be really distracting if someone does not have a good microphone when everything is on Zoom and in seminar. And so I don't know if this is just my anxiety-ridden self that I want to make sure other people can hear me well, but I enjoy having a microphone hooked up to my Zoom. That way the sound comes across clear and I'm not worried about if people can actually hear me in class and understand what I'm saying. There were several issues this year with some people in my classes where it was very hard to hear them because of their microphone situation. You don't have to get a super expensive one. The one I have in Columbus was, I think, $30 off of Amazon. These things don't have to be huge investments. I want to stress that you don't have to spend a lot of money. My second screen that I bought was under $150. The microphone was $30. And then the thing I'm going to talk about next, the computer stand, was also, I think, around $30. So it's an initial investment, but if you're using it for a long time, it's really not that expensive. So the next thing that I think has really changed my work from home life is this computer stand. I found within even the first week that my neck was always super hunched. I had really bad posture because the computer was just so much further down than me on the desk. But this gives the computer air. If anybody out there can relate, sometimes when you're doing too much on your computer starts to overheat. This helps the computer sit up a little bit, get some air, and I have way less overheating problems when it's propped up like this. Second of all, my posture is way better now that the screen is sitting up. Also, for Zoom, once again, since that's kind of my life right now, it gives a way better angle for your classes than just staring at your face from a down angle, and so I really, really do appreciate that. So with the stand, it does mean that you're not really going to be able to type. So it required me to get two additional things: a wireless keyboard and a wireless mouse. The keyboard I fortunately already had. I've had it since college. And then the mouse was probably my most favorite investment thus far. There's just something about having a mouse and not having to do all of your scrolling here. I'm just really obsessed. Maybe that tells you that I should get a desktop in the near future. But they're just things that make my life a little bit easier. I will say that not all stands require you to get any of these wireless devices. There are some that put the keyboard more at an angle and it still props the screen up, but you're still able to type. This is just the version that I went with. I wanted it to be fairly high. I am 5'7", which is not like crazy tall, but it's also not short. So I just wanted to make sure that my eye line matched with the screen and what I was doing. Another thing that you're going to need to get if you have a MacBook Pro is a USB converter. They have a USB-C now, which is not the same thing as the old USBs. And so in order to pretty much do anything, you're going to need an adapter. I found this really great adapter back here that I'll insert a clip of that has a spot for an HDMI cord, which is how I hook up my second screen. It also has a spot to charge your computer and a spot for an additional USB, which I use as the Bluetooth connector for my mouse. So I'm able to do a lot of different things at once. So those are my basic tech essentials. I think if you're going to be working from home, you should really get a second screen. It's just going to make your life a lot easier. It is going to help you be more productive because you can do more things at once. You can see more at once. You want to make sure that you're looking good on camera, so you're propping up the camera a little bit, that you sound good. These sound like really silly things, but I am not kidding. When I did my master's in New York, I did not invest in anything. I didn't even have a desk I really don't know how I survived. Well, I went to the library a lot. But when I would come home, I would do all my homework on my bed, just sitting like this, which was horrible, and I really hated doing it. So now I decided, for my PhD, I need to level up a little bit. I'm curious to see how my tech will change throughout the years, what I will get later on down the road when I start my dissertation. So maybe I will have to do an updated version eventually. But these are my basic essentials. So that is my list for you guys. I know this was a short video, but I hope you enjoyed it. I get so much joy out of these tiny little things, which I don't know what that says about me, but thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and leave a comment down below if there's anything in particular you want me to talk about or review or really dig into about grad school life. I'd love to talk about it. And I will see you guys in the next video.